Good morning, everyone. Sorry, something about the bug flew in my hair. Good morning. Welcome to In the Garden with Joyful Living. I am Kimberly Dixon. While we wait for a few people to join us, today I'm going to unveil my back patio, which I've been working on for a few weeks now. But while we wait for a few people to join us, I'm going to show you the sunflowers that I planted along the perimeter of the backyard. So I planted about 14 or 15 sunflowers, but some of them have succumbed to the elements. That one is still doing pretty well, although I need to spray it with some neem oil because something has been feasting on it. There's another one. It's doing well. This one is doing very well. It's growing wonderfully. And it's so funny because I love how sunflowers instinctively know who they are. I don't know if you can tell, but they're all facing the sun, and as the day progresses they will actually change their position to face towards the sun. And if it's a completely cloudy day, if they're close to each other, that one's doing really well. See how beautiful the leaves are? They will actually face each other. They will turn their heads towards each other if they can't find the sun. I didn't plant anything in this area because it doesn't get enough sun throughout the day. Periodically there's sun here, but this tree is so large that it covers most of it, so I didn't put anything there. But all of the ones in this area are doing great. That one's doing pretty well. Good morning, Tamika. Thank you for sharing the video. Well, with the exception of that one, as you can see, there's nothing there anymore. It died. This one still has morning dew on it. It will be getting more sun a little bit later in the morning. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Tamika. So we've got a couple people on, so I'm going to go ahead and start showing you the patio because there's a lot of stuff out here. I pray that you'll stay with me, but I wanted to show everybody what I've got going on because people have actually been asking about it. So, trying to turn the camera around. This is the back patio, and this is my little garden sanctuary. So I'm gonna go through and tell you everything that's out here, so you have an idea of what the plant looks like and actually what some of the things that we eat comes from. So these are my pepper plants. Let me move, my shadow is blocking the plant. That's a jalapeno plant. That's a sweet banana pepper. I actually thought it was gonna die a few weeks ago, but I nurtured it and it came back. And that is a hot pepper. This is a cherry tomato plant. It's actually there's a small tomato, and there is another one. There's a couple of different ones on here, but all of those flowers are going to be tomatoes. And it's going to be beautiful once they get red, and they'll be small, but it'll be a lot of clusters of beautiful tomatoes. That's basil. I always plant basil with tomatoes because it improves the flavor, makes it sweeter and more flavorful. That's a bee bath. That's the smallest bird bath in history, but it's not actually a bird bath, it's a bee bath. It's called, because bumblebees need water too, and I want to attract bumblebees, so I'll make this environment beneficial for them too. This is my, where's my tag? Well, this is a cucumber. I forget which kind it is, but because I got a couple different varieties, but that's a cucumber plant. A miniature rose. This is lemon thyme. Smells wonderful. This is confetti cilantro. Now, ordinarily, when herbs start to flower, you want to go ahead and cut it back because it changes the flavor of it. But cilantro is one of the few that when it produces flowers, it'll produce, good morning, Judy, little seeds. And the seeds of cilantro is actually the spice coriander. So, but today I'm going to go ahead and cut this back because it will change the flavor of it. And I use cilantro in guacamole, homemade salsa. Oh, let me go back because I just looked up and saw something. These are my little bees and ladybugs. I got those at the dollar store. A lot of these pots out here came from the dollar store. So let me go around on this side. These are bunch white onions. This is celery that I'm actually growing from a scrap that came from my kitchen. I used the celery, I cut off the stalks that I needed, and then I set the base in some water, and the next day it was already sprouting leaves. Once it began to sprout roots, I brought it outside and put it in dirt, and it's doing wonderful. That's rosemary, another herb. This is my little bee from the dollar store. This is pineapple sage. Smells wonderful. German thyme, another miniature rose. This is Greek oregano. I love that stuff. This is chamomile. And the flowers from chamomile is actually what is used to make chamomile tea. So once it flowers, I'll be able to use the flowers. Actually, the flowers are edible. You can use it in salads and things of that nature, but also in to make tea. Now I see my cucumber tag. This cucumber is the smaller ones that are pickling cucumbers, and I can't wait to have some produce and stuff. This is another cucumber plant. It is the larger varieties. Now I want to show you, because this is going to tie into what I'll be talking about in just a minute. There are 3 cucumber plants in here. It started out just being this one, and I planted everything that was in the cup, not knowing that it was actually 3 plants in that cup. There is another bee bath. This is bee balm. This is a fragrant plant that has red flowers on it that can be actually used to make tea. I use it to attract pollinators because I've never made the tea before, but it's supposed to attract things that are going to help my garden to thrive. This is a zucchini plant. I bought one. It was a transplant that I purchased one, but it was actually 2 in the cup. So once it got a little bigger, I separated them out. Another thing of bunch onions that I did from seeds. African violets that I did from seeds. These are Velvet Queen sunflowers that I did from seeds. Good morning, Rosetta. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Freddie. This is green beans, Blue Lake variety. Those are green beans. Those are green beans. And once they get bigger, they'll grow up around the cage. Excuse me. I did several things. Those are morning glories that will travel up that pole. I did several things of green beans because I want to actually produce enough to be able to cook and eat. Those are pinto beans that I started from seeds. And that's my first time doing most of everything that's out here, with the exception of the zucchini and, well, even that cherry tomato. I'd never done cherry tomatoes before. I've done zucchini before in pots, but that was about it. So this plant, this is Jack. And you probably know why I named it Jack, because it's a beanstalk. It's green beans as well. This is a spearmint plant. It smells delicious. Whenever the wind blows, I can smell it. But people tell me that when they walk up to my patio, they can smell the different things that are out here. This is another pinto bean plant. This is Little Jack. I call him Little Jack because he's not doing quite as well as the other one, but still thriving. This area is my lettuce. Let me go around to the others. Well, before I go around, because I want to tell you what each one of those is. This is my experimentation area. These aren't really grow bags. I'm using them as grow bags. This is actually a bag from Whole Foods, and those smaller ones are bags that I got from Amazon. But I had some potatoes that were getting eyes on them, so I planted them. And look, there's one coming up. There's red potatoes, white potatoes, and let's go around. We're just about finished now, guys, but this is arugula lettuce. This is a muslin mix. That's green leaf lettuce. Another thing of arugula because I love it. The green bin is African daisies, and that last bin is romaine lettuce. I got these little pots from the Dollar Tree. Lots of great gardening finds in it. This is strawberry mint. Got this from the farmer's market. Good morning, Judy. Good morning, Gwen. And that one there is orange mint. They are great in water, great in tea. Just lemonade, anything you want to add a little burst of flavor to. Put you some kind of mint in it. It's wonderful. This is another experiment. Sweet potatoes, in order to grow them, you have to get little slips, and you should start it in February. But I belong to a gardening group, and they recommend just try it and see if it'll work. And I saw a video on YouTube about how to grow slips quicker than you normally do, and it's actually working because you can see these potatoes are starting to get little slips. My red flour just for a little burst of color. But again, all the stuff in these little buckets came from seeds. The green beans, the pinto beans, they all came from seeds. They had the potential to be something greater, but it was hidden away in the seed. And that seed started out its life, good morning, Jay, buried beneath, I thought I had some water out here, but it's going to be coffee instead. Those seeds started out in life buried beneath the earth. Some of us get us started in life that is so rough. We are born in poverty. We are born to parents that have some type of addiction, whether it's alcohol or drugs. We are born into some, before we were born, the situation was so adverse that it looked like that we didn't have a chance. We were covered up with soil. But deep inside of us, we knew that there was something greater, something deeper. So we stretched ourselves towards the sun. So let me show you this lettuce again. So it was all doing very, very well. But then last weekend when I had planned to do the unveil, it was cold, too cold for these young sprouts to be outside. And I took it indoors. And being indoors, it changed the way it was growing. And it got really, when it gets long and lean like that, that's called being leggy. Because these plants were trying to stretch towards the light in the kitchen. Knew it wasn't outdoors. Knew it wasn't getting the amount of light that it normally gets. Especially that romaine down. I don't know if you how well you can see that. But it's really leggy. Because it knew that it wasn't getting the amount of light that it normally gets. It wasn't getting the light that it needs for the seed to reach its full potential. But it knew that there was light in the room. So it stretched itself to get that light. Some of us, when we are born, we are covered up with dirt from the very start, from the situations that we are born into and out of. Some people were born as a result of an assault or result of a rape. And they start out in life feeling like they were buried from the beginning because of the way they were created or the situation they were born into. But there's still potential in you regardless of how you started out. I'm sorry, guys. I need some water, and I left it in the house on the sink. So I'm going to try to get through this. And then some of us are transplants, like the zucchini and the cucumber that I have. And from this zucchini, as if you saw the very beginning of it, this was I bought this at a garden center, and it was actually 2 plants in one pot together. Didn't realize that at the time, but as it began to grow, it began to get weak and sickly, and it started to die because the pot that it was in was too small for it. They were choking each other out. Some of us in our lives, good morning, Jackie, when we grow up in a pot, and at first the pot is very comfortable for us, and it makes us feel comfortable and good, and we're, at peace. But as we begin to grow, we get too big for the pot that we are in, and we start to die. In life, the pot that we are in is most often associated with the circle of people that we keep. Sometimes it's our friends. Sometimes it may be the job that we have. A job that we had right out of high school was a perfect fit for us as a teenager. But as we grew and we matured, that job began to stifle us. Some of us, we have dreams of changing the world. Good morning, Pastor Jones. We have dreams of changing the world. But our friends only desire to get high or get drunk every day. And so the pot that we're in, our circle that we're keeping, it's too small for us, and it's choking us out. But as you can see, when I moved the zucchini, it was both in that pot at first. When I took one of the plants out and put it in a pot by itself, I moved it to a new environment. It started to grow and sprout new leaves, and now it is flourishing because it's in a different environment. And actually, both are flourishing now because it's in a different environment. Sometimes the friends that we start out with in life, it may be what we need in the moment, but if we stay together, we become trapped in that environment. That means some of us, not everybody, some of us are going to have to move out of the city that we were born in because there's something else, there's a different potential in us, and that in order for that potential to be tapped into, we got to get in a different environment. We have to change jobs. We have to make some type of move that is going to be conducive for the potential that's in us. And then some of us are like this little celery stalk. As I said earlier, this is a kitchen scrap, meaning I bought some celery in the grocery store. I cut off the stalks that I wanted to use, and then I was left with a stump. But instead of throwing that scrap away, which most of us would have done, I put it in some water, and overnight, new leaves began to grow. Within a week, it started to form roots. And once it had roots, I came and planted it in some soil. Some of us are like that kitchen scrap, meaning something or someone used us up until they had gotten everything off that they thought was beneficial, and then they threw us away. But just like this stalk of celery, if you put something or someone that has been discarded, that has been thrown away, that has been used up into the right environment, it still has full potential. I'm saying all of that today to say that all of us are born with some untapped potential. Some of us start out as seeds in an environment in which it looks like there is no way we're going to make it. Some of us start out as a transplant. We were born into a situation, it was a good one. We were nurtured. But then we got into a circle, or we got into a situation or a job that stifled us, and we didn't grow as much as we could have. And then some of us are like that kitchen scrap. Somebody came along and they saw the potential in us. Good morning, Sean. But instead of nurturing that potential, they decided to use us until there was nothing left, and then discard us. And when we're in situations, any of these situations, we think that we have been passed over. that it's too late for us, that we missed our opportunity. But this morning's message is simply to let you know that there is potential in us that no one sees, even when the world has discarded you or when the world has buried you. Just like this little green bean over here. It had potential. Now, it's not a green bean. I'm sorry. That's a pinto bean. It has potential. But until it got put in the right environment, it couldn't grow. It couldn't sprout into the beautiful thing that God had put inside of it. That untapped potential. That's us in so many ways. We become complacent in life. We become discouraged by life. We become hardened by life. And then we think that we don't have anything to offer. This sunflower here in the middle, it's a dwarf velvet queen. When it got really cold that first night, I forgot and left it outside. The next morning, it was laying over limp, and I thought that it may be gone. Wasn't too late for it. I tucked it in, I nursed it, and now it is growing strong. It's not as big as the one that was next to it that was covered all along. Its growth has been stunted, but yet it is still growing. Don't let the things that happen to you in your life cause you to wither and die. Yes, it may have stunted your growth a little bit. It may have delayed you a little bit, but there is potential in you. Good morning, Sabrina. That no one has seen, that no one has tapped into. That seed that God planted in you before you were ever born. The scriptures teach us He knew us before we were formed. And it also tells us that the potential that's in us, eyes have not seen, nor ears heard, nor entered into the hearts of man the things that God has for you. No matter what situation you were born into, no matter what situation comes along in your life, man has not seen or heard or can even perceive, can even wrap their mind around the potential that God has placed in you. So I wanted to unveil my back patio. This is my little sanctuary. It started out being this area with just this monochromatic, the black pots, the brown pot, the brown furniture. And I was sitting out here one day and I was like, you know what? This spot has the potential for so much more. Let me put some color out here. So I found this little inexpensive, I didn't want a woven rug. I wanted a rug that's made out of plastic so it can get wet. I was in the Dollar Tree and I saw these little pails of bells. I punched holes in the bottom of them and created something new out of it. I saw its potential to be something other than a little pail. I don't know what it was supposed to be used for. These are grocery bags. I saw the potential for them to be a grow bag. Yes, they sell grow bags online and in stores and stuff, and they're not cheap. These little bags, I got 5 or 6 of these in a pack. It was $5, so they were less than $1 a piece. I'm telling you all of this so that you know that no matter what comes along in our life is going to be full of hardships. It's going to be full of difficult times. It's going to be full of trials. But I want you to know this morning that there is potential in you to be something bigger. When I moved here, this spot, this space, was just a slab of concrete. There was nothing here. But I saw the potential for it to be my little sanctuary. And I'm sure you can hear the birds calling. In the morning, I sit out here. I have my coffee. I do my study time. I pray. I sing. I actually found out a couple of weeks ago that when I'm sitting out here, people from that neighborhood can see me. I didn't realize that. But they can, and I don't care. But I sit out here and I pray and I worship God and I look at the bounty that's around me, and that no matter what these little plants started out like, they're going to produce something that will nourish me physically and then spiritually, because it does something to you to be able to watch something that you planted grow. So I want you to know that there is potential in you. When I got this cucumber plant, it was that tall. And this is another thing. Just like the zucchini, it was just that one stalk. These two, I'm going to have to separate this out just like I did the zucchini. We're not even in the cup. So I thought it was one cucumber. Apparently, there were 3 seeds in that cup. And when I nurtured it, when I fed it, when I fertilized it, I came out one morning and instead of having one plant, there were 3. I'm going to have to separate that out soon because it's getting big. But we have potential. We're like seeds. We've been planted. We've got dirt on top of us. That's a beautiful little tomato. We've got dirt on top of us. Some of it was situations we were born into. Sometimes it was dirt somebody throwed on us. People have been talking about us every day of our life. And we have been battered. Good morning, Tammy. We've been battered. We've been bruised, but we fought our way up through the dirt. We stretched ourselves towards the sun. And although we got some scars, and we a little weak, but we are still growing. So I'm excited. I'll be happy to show you what this romaine lettuce looks like in a few weeks. And again, all of this stuff came from seeds. That stuff was transplants. None of it was as big as it is now. It started out just a tiny, tiny, short little plant. But I put it in a bigger pot. I put it into an environment in which it could thrive in. And now I have this beautiful space. It was a slab of concrete, but I saw the potential for it to be something bigger than what it is now. We all have that kind of potential in us, that untapped potential. Somebody in our life, whether it was a teacher that told us we were stupid and that we couldn't be a news anchor, we couldn't be an astronaut, we couldn't be a scientist, or it was our mom or dad who told us we would never amount to anything. Or we had a mom or dad that said, you're just like your mom or dad. And we knew that the feelings that they had, that was not a compliment. But know that there's potential in you. And I thank everybody for watching this morning. Because the sun is shining on me, I can't see. Good morning, Julius. Good morning, Celeste. Anybody? Good morning, Yavanka. Anybody that I met? Good morning, Tara. Good morning, Shaliza. Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of In the Garden with Joyful Living. I pray that you were able to tap into that potential that you have inside of you. Whether you are a seed, whether you are a transplant, whether you are a scrap that somebody used up and threw away and you thought there was nothing left. I want you to know that just like this little celery stalk that I used all the celery on, but then I cut away, I put it in some water, I nurtured it, and when it had roots again, I planted it into some soil where it could thrive. You have that same kind of potential, no matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what situation occurred, there's still potential in you. Again, show y'all Jack, that's my beanstalk. You have the potential to be something, someone, so much more than what you are currently. No matter what it is that you're doing, no matter who you are. You could be a top executive in a billion-dollar company. You still, good morning. Thank you for sharing, Doris. Good morning. You have the potential inside of you that's still untapped. The potential that God gives us, it's limitless. It's boundless. But when we become discouraged, good morning, Jacqueline, we become discouraged by life. And we think that this is it for me. I'm done. But no matter what situation you were born into, you have the potential to be something greater than just a slab of concrete, than just a seed that was buried underneath the earth, than more than a tiny plant in a small cup, more than a kitchen scrap. That potential inside of you is boundless. Don't let anything or anyone or any season, this COVID-19, this is a season. It's gonna last a while. I know we are starting to try to move out of it. It's going to last. This thing's gonna be around for a while. Yes, I have been busy, Tara. I told you I had some stuff to show you. But no matter what season we're in, there's still potential for greatness. And even when you become great, you might already be great. Even when you become great, there's still more potential in you. Don't ever put a cap on what God has put inside of you. Let your potential overflow like a fountain. So guys, thank you so much for watching In the Garden with Joyful Living. Please share the video. I hope you were able to glean something out of this in the hidden potential. This was an empty space when I moved here, and now it's my sanctuary. So guys, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.